The novel begins in an alternate world that is similar to Earth. Lyra Belacqua, a young girl who has been given shelter by the scholars at Jordan College at Oxford University, and her demon, Pantalaimon, hide in an off-limits wardrobe in the headmaster's rooms. In Lyra's world, demons are the external forms of people's souls. Lyra and Pantalaimon learn that Lord Asriel, Lyra's uncle, is about to be poisoned by the headmaster for mysterious reasons. They warn Lord Asriel in time to save his life. Later, they overhear Lord Asriel telling the scholars at Jordan about a strange substance he is researching called dust. Lord Asriel is able to convince the scholars to fund his further explorations of dust, which require him to travel to the northernmost reaches of the globe. All of this greatly excites Lyra's curiosity about dust. Later, mysterious kidnappers, whom Lyra and her friends call gobblers, take Lyra's best friend, an Oxford boy named Roger Parslow. Lyra wants to go look for Roger, but before she can, a woman named Mrs. Coulter, who appears initially to be some kind of benefactress, spirits her away to London. Before Lyra leaves Oxford, the headmaster gives her a golden compass called an alethiometer, which Lyra does not know how to use. Arriving in London, Lyra is at first enchanted by Mrs. Coulter, but Lyra's rebellious nature, as well as her suspicions about Mrs. Coulter's vicious demon, lead her to flee Mrs. Coulter's house. Lyra wants to go north and learn more about dust. Before she can, however, she falls in with the Costas, a family that is part of a clan of people known as Gyptians, who live in boats and travel on the rivers. The Costas have also lost a boy to the gobblers. The Costas take Lyra to meet Jonfa, the king of the Gyptians, who is planning an expedition north in search of the gobblers and the missing children. From her meeting with Jonfa, Lyra learns that Makasta, the mother of the Costa family, looked after her when she was a baby, and that Lord Asriel is her father and Mrs. Coulter is her mother. Lyra convinces the Gyptians to take her north with them on their quest to recover the captured children. On the way there, Lyra learns how to use the alethiometer, a device that allows her to see into the past, present, and future with the help of Farder Karam, a wise old Gyptian man. Their journey north also throws Lyra into contact with a man named Dr. Lancelius, the representative of a powerful clan of witches. Lancelius tells Lyra that she has a great destiny before her. Lancelius also introduces her to Eoric Bernison, an armored bear who is the exiled king of his clan. Eoric agrees to travel with Lyra and the band of Gyptians, who also take up with Lise Caresby, a Texan who owns a balloon. They continue to move north. On their way to Bollivanger, where the gobblers work, a menacing clan known as the Tartars attack Lyra and the Gyptians. The Tartars steal Lyra and bring her to Bollivanger, where the gobblers keep the children they have kidnapped. Here, Lyra finds Roger and also discovers the sinister secret of the gobblers. They cut demons and children apart in a process known as intercision. Furthermore, Lyra learns that Mrs. Coulter is in charge of the activities at Bollivanger. Lyra leads the children to freedom, but Mrs. Coulter pursues her. Lise Caresby rescues Lyra, Roger, and Eoric Bernison with the help of Serafina Piccola, a beautiful witch. They fly away from Mrs. Coulter and are on their way to rescue Lord Asriel, who is being held prisoner by the armored bears, when they are attacked by Cliff Guess. Lyra falls from Lise Caresby's balloon and is captured by the armored bears. She meets Ioffer Reknison, who stole Eoric Bernison's throne, and convinces him to fight Eoric by tricking him into believing that she, Lyra, will become his demon if he wins. Eoric goes to the home of the armored bears with Roger and kills Ioffer. Lyra, Roger, and Eoric go to free Lord Asriel. Lord Asriel tries to sever Roger's demon from him in the correct belief that doing so will release a massive energy and break through his world into another. Roger dies, and Lord Asriel creates a bridge from his world into another. Lyra follows him into the new world. The subtle knife begins not in Lyra's world, but in our own. Will Polly, a young boy who lives in Oxford with his sick mother, is being pursued by sinister men who claim to be with the government. Fearing for her safety, Will takes his mother to the home of his old piano teacher, Mrs. Cooper. He returns home but finds that the ominous men have arrived and are looking for letters exchanged between his parents. Will finds the letters first and escapes, killing one of the men along the way. As he is fleeing, Will stumbles into an anomaly, a hole in space that leads him into another world. He finds himself in an abandoned city where he runs into Lyra, who is also hiding there. Lyra is surprised to find that Will has no demon, while Will is surprised to hear her describe demons, which he's never heard of. Meanwhile, Serafina Piccola, a witch and a friend of Lyra's, is looking for her witch clan when she comes across Mrs. Coulter's boat is floating in the North Sea. Serafina lands on the boat, makes herself invisible, and discovers that Mrs. Coulter has captured a witch and is torturing her in an effort to find out what the witches know about Lyra. Before the witch can speak, Serafina makes herself visible, kills the witch, and escapes. She then rejoins her clan, which has met up with Lise Caresby. The queen of the witch clan, Ruta Skadi, is also there. Lee is searching for Stanislaus Grumman, a famous Arctic explorer. Serafina and her clan send out witches to search for Lyra. Ruta decides to travel with them and then look for Lord Asriel. Will and Lyra meet a young girl named Angelica and her brother Paolo, who explain that the city they're in is named Cheetah Gaze, or Sea Gaze. The city is overrun with beings called specters. Children can't see specters, but adults can. Specters feed on adults' souls, leaving them in a kind of stupefied trance. Lyra and Will go through the anomaly to Will's Oxford. Will is looking for information about his father, a famed Arctic explorer named John Parry, who vanished when Will was a baby, and Lyra is looking for a physicist who can tell her more about dust. Lyra consults the alethiometer, which leads her to Dr. Mary Malone, a scientist interested in interstellar particles known as dark matter. Mary and her colleague, Oliver Payne, have discovered substances they call shadows, which share many characteristics with the dust that Lyra is interested in learning more about. Mary and Oliver have discovered that shadows are conscious material and they are trying to open a means of communication between themselves and the shadows. Lyra and Will meet up again and go back to Sea Gaze. Will reads the letters his father sent to his mother and learns that his father disappeared while looking for an anomaly, a window between two worlds, very much like the one Will used to get to Sea Gaze. Meanwhile, Lise Caresby accidentally kills an agent of the church, the sinister and very powerful religious organization that lies at the heart of the books. Serafina, Ruta, and the other witches fly into the new world that Lord Asriel has linked to the world of Sea Gaze. Rebel angels lead Ruta to Lord Asriel and the fortress he is building in yet another world. Back in Sea Gaze, Lyra goes to Will's Oxford without him. She visits Mary and finds that the police, or people pretending to be police, are there. They trick her into admitting that she knows Will. A mysterious man named Lord Charles Lettram helps Lyra escape by letting her into his limousine. He drives her back to the hole between worlds and steals Lyra's alethiometer. Lyra gets Will, and together they go to Lettram's house. Will figures out that Lettram is from Lyra's world because he sees that Lettram has a demon. Lettram tells Lyra and Will that he will only give back the alethiometer if they steal something for him, an immensely powerful weapon known as the subtle knife. Lyra and Will return to Sea Gaze and go to the Tor degli Angeli, Tower of the Angels, where the knife bearer is supposed to be. There they find that Angelica and Paolo's other brother, Tullio, has captured and beaten the knife bearer, an old man named Giacomo Paradisi, and is trying to figure out how to use the weapon. Will and Tullio fight, and though Will loses 2 fingers in the battle, he emerges victorious and keeps the knife. Tullio, however, escapes. Giacomo tells Will that the knife is what makes the holes between the worlds. He teaches Will how to open and close these passageways. Lyra and Will wait until later that night and return to Will's Oxford, where they use the knife to steal the alethiometer back from Lettram. While they are at his house, Mrs. Coulter arrives, and Lyra remembers that Sir Charles Lettram is Lord Borealis, a man Mrs. Coulter knows from her own world. Lyra promises to help Will find his father. Lise Caresby, meanwhile, has found Stanislaus Grumman, who tells him that his name is actually John Parry and that he comes from another world. Parry is now a powerful shaman who has been investigating dust. In the course of his studies, Parry has also learned about the existence of the subtle knife. He is now determined to find the knife and exhort its bearer to use it for the good of the universe. Pari does not yet know that Will is in possession of the knife, and he enlists Caresby's help to scour existence in search of the knife's bearer. Back in Seagaze, a mob of angry children, led by Tullio's sister Angelica, attack Lyra and Will. Serafina and her band of witches rescue them. Back in Will's Oxford, Mary Malone has begun to communicate with the shadows and has learned from them that she has to go to Seagaze in order to help Lyra and Will. Meanwhile, Ruta Skadi rejoins Serafina's clan and tells the witches about Lord Asriel's fortress. She explains that Lord Asriel is planning to wage war on God. She leaves again, and Serafina's band continues north. Lise Caresby and John Pari, traveling in Lee's balloon, enter into the world of Seagaze. Soldiers sent by the church pursue them. Lee crashes the balloon, and John uses his powers to make 3 of the 4 church zeppelins that are pursuing them crash. The 4th lands, and Lee dies in the fight to hold off the soldiers while Pari runs ahead to meet the knife bearer. Lyra, Will, and the witches, led by the alethiometer, continue rushing north.